Thank you for being here tonight. I particularly want to thank Senator Tom Duggar, Wesson Lou Watkins, Provost Mendez, and others for being here this evening. My name is Randy Kluver. I'm the Dean of the School of Global Studies and Partnerships, and it's my honor to welcome you tonight. And I want to thank you for being on here on what is a very special day for the School of Global Studies. Today, we're here to honor an incredible man, Chic Dambach. A graduate of OSU, Chic went on to live a life of service to the global community. After leaving OSU, he joined the Peace Corps and went on to a life of exceptional service for peoples around the world. When I started at Oklahoma State University, I did not know the story of Chic Dambach, and I didn't understand his vision and his impact. I've since come to understand much more about him, his life of service, and his vision for peace. It's been a tremendous pleasure as well to meet his friends, the FATAGs, or FATAGs, or FATAGs. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. The Friday Afternoon Tea and Glee Society is, I think, one of the coolest stories about OSU, and there's a lot of cool stories about OSU. The whimsical name had a much more serious purpose, which was the expansion of free speech and serious discourse about the nation in the 1960s. I've been reading about the movement and the personalities, and I have an immense respect for all of you and your commitment to social justice, to free speech, and for the betterment of the entire global community. Today, there was a reunion lunch, and I had the privilege of sitting in and hearing many of those stories. And many of you had a difficult time at Oklahoma State University. You weren't treated well, and your perspectives were not welcome. I mentioned to Chic yesterday that for many people, they would walk away from a situation like that with no ongoing commitment to the institution. But you guys are different. You have formed the Dambach Fellowship Founders Council to provide this means to endow this fellowship in honor of Chic. You have not only maintained your ties to the university, but you have strengthened them. And in so doing, you have strengthened the university where you began your journeys, even though it was rocky. It's my honor to serve as the Dean of the School of Global Studies and to receive this endowment on behalf of the School of Global Studies. Starting 5 years ago, we redesigned this program. We turned it upside down. We made it an interdisciplinary program that focuses only on global problems. And we think that's what makes us very distinctive. We wanted to design a program that reflected the vision of so many OSU leaders who have provided a vision for improving the world, including leaders like Henry G. Bennett, Wes Watkins, for whom this building is named, and Chic Dambach. These leaders all had and have a passion, which is improving this broken world through commitment to addressing poverty, injustice, and conflict. All of these leaders understood that you don't create peace by saying, "Don't fight," but you create peace by creating the conditions by which people understand that conflict undermines their own self-interest, their own prosperity. You create peace by increasing the economic, social, cultural, and political conditions that drive conflict. We're very proud of our curriculum that's built around addressing problems like this, and we pledge to the Founders Council that this fellowship will contribute to our efforts to create a place in Stillwater, Oklahoma, for which students can prepare for lives and careers in global service. Today, the purpose of our gathering is to announce the Charles F. Chic Dambach Endowed Fellowship for Peacebuilders. This initiative will provide global studies with the students with the opportunity to study in the School of Global Studies with a goal of increasing peace around the globe. Therefore, it is my pleasure as Dean of the School of Global Studies and Partnerships to announce this gift from the founders in recognition of Chic's vision and commitment to global peace. Please join me in thanking all of those who have helped to create this fellowship. So you can see on this plaque, this will be hung upstairs outside the academic program. It's the Dambach Peacebuilders Endowed Fellowship, and every student who receives the fellowship will have his name inscribed in here as a permanent testimony to Chic's impact. Now I would like to introduce the Provost of Oklahoma State University, Dr. Jeanette Mendez.
Hello and welcome. It's an honor to be here today. Let me just tell you that one of the most important priorities that we have at Oklahoma State University moving forward will be our scholarship opportunities. Ensuring access to education for our students is crucial as the cost of education has increased and more are forced to choose between pursuing an education and heading into the workforce. As a first-generation college student myself, my journey would not have been possible without the support of alumni and donors, so I speak from personal experience on how transformative scholarships are to the lives of our students. This fellowship will provide full funding to multiple graduate students within the School of Global Studies. Given the school's unique academic program, students in the public diplomacy track are educated for a career in application. These students do not remain in the theory of global issues, but rather are able to apply their education and through tangible impact in their roles following graduation. As a land-grant institution, this is one of our greatest honors to ensure that education delivered on this campus is fully leveraged out in the communities in need, in this case, our global communities. This fellowship will not only empower a student that may have previously thought the next step in their education was out of reach, but it will equip our students to solve imminent issues facing society. Not only will this fellowship create OSU's next generation of peace builders and negotiators, we will impact the community and the globe just as Chic has done. We are grateful for this group's tireless support of this worthy cause, and we look forward to seeing the impact of this fellowship, which will be not only on the student recipients, but on the world around us. Thank you for your investment in OSU's World Changers, and go Pokes.
Now I'd like to introduce you to Keith McGlamory, a member of the Dambach Fellowship Founders Council. Keith is a 1969 graduate of OSU and has had a long and distinguished legal career. Keith has been one of the driving forces of today's events, so Keith, please join us.
Thank you for being here. Do I need to be closer?
You gotta do the creepy thing.
Okay. Can you hear me now? I'll try to be a little less creepy from now on. I'm not going to let any of you raise your hands if you think I'm too creepy. So, the last 13 months or so, 8 people, myself included, have worked on creation of something which we couldn't agree upon as to what we were creating in the first 4 months that we were meeting. One of our group, Gene Reed, whom I'll introduce in a minute, along with all the other members of the Dambach Founders Council, had suggested to me on more than one occasion that we ought to do something for Chic Dambach to recognize his impact on us and his service to the world. Part of it is I think that all of Chic's friends, of whom, well, I won't say all because there are, so far as I can tell, hundreds, literally, both in the U.S. and around the world. But at least within shouting distance of here and the people in this room, that we recognize that Chic made some sacrifices. He's very bright, obviously. He's very, very personable. He's persuasive, and he could have, and he has an MBA. He could have chosen a different course and probably made a lot of money. So that is in recognizing that, and is all the more reason to show appreciation for what he's done for the planet and for people in other nations and for people throughout the United States. There are however many hundreds of friends he has, he's got thousands and maybe tens of thousands of people who are grateful to him. So, what do we do? And so Gene had tossed me this question, or challenge, what do we do for Chic? And I didn't have an answer immediately, and finally came up with a pretty weak one, which is, well, maybe we can, he's invested in the Brooks Stockton lecture series, and maybe we could, contribute some money and get Chic's name on that too. So it'd be Brooks Stockton Dambach lecture series. And so I started making some phone calls and contacted two people that I had known the longest, Doug and Sherry Caves, and they knew Chic well and readily agreed to join in this effort. And that was also the first time I got any pushback and was sort of politely told that I was probably thinking too small. There was then this daisy chain, sometimes awkwardly linked, for people recommended other people that should be part of our group. And that sounds pretty unproductive in a way. You'd like to know who your participants are and make sure they are all in sync with what you're trying to achieve and so forth. But we ended up, as it turns out, with 8 people, all of whom were bright, all of whom were dedicated to the cause, if you will, and who appreciated Chic. But for the first 4 months, we couldn't agree on what we should do, but we kept meeting, and and finally we had, part of the problem was that because a number of us had had unfortunate experiences with OSU administration when we were students, there was some reluctance to do something that's going to put a lot of money in the university that they felt didn't treat them very well. And so we waited. We hadn't told Chic and Kay anything about this. I mean, our operating mode was we were going to work this out or not, but we didn't want this to be perceived as a vanity project for Chic, because we wanted people to believe in the cause, to see the value in peace building. So it was about 4 months or so in when I called and called Chic and Kay one Sunday morning, and then they were obviously pleased and excited. And then from that point on, we had their involvement, although I told Chic he wasn't going to get to make all the decisions. And so all that did was sort of amp up how devious he was going to be. So what we found out over time is, and Chic gave his ideas and so forth. What we found out over time was that Chic's approach to peace building, which is not a term that is, you sometimes, if you've got spell checker, it'll, say, do you mean peacemaking or, peacekeeping or something? Peace builder wasn't, and what we found out was that Chic, in part, was responsible for that name taking on meaning and appearing in dictionaries as a real word and so forth, and because of his work for the Alliance for Peacebuilding, which was an entity, as I recall, Chic, that the name was changed to include that. But it's as we've explained that to people, and if you will forgive me for just a minute, I think it's fair for this group to understand what's meant by Peacebuilder. And I will at this point give a plug for the Development Foundation, because they were phenomenal, very receptive, very easy to work with. I'd had some unfortunate experiences in the past, and none of that came out. This was total cooperation, and it was clear they were going to protect the interests of the foundation and the university, but within the bounds of propriety and so forth, we will at the very least listen to you, and we'll tell you what our concerns are, if any, and so forth. And that's the way it was. It was a very cooperative negotiation, but it was more, it was not that difficult or a loaded type of negotiation. And as I was thinking while Dean Kluver was speaking, I practiced law 46 years. And I've been in a lot of negotiations. I've been in a lot of meetings. And there were several things that came out as special and very unusual in my experience. I've never worked with a group of 7 other people who were not affiliated with each other officially, just a long relationship in the distant past. Which every time somebody would say 50 years, all of us would cringe. We had this diverse group of personalities, which I will tell you about and introduce them here in just a minute. But the give and take, the flexibility, the humility, all of those things enabled us to come together in a way that I had not anticipated we could after some of the battles in the early time. And they weren't angry battles, but they were strong disagreements and principled disagreements. So it was all very legitimate. But we started to meld about 4 months in, and then it grew from there. And we ended up with the program that's being announced tonight in total agreement. And one of the other things that happened is also significant, that we started this off to honor Chic. And that's still, a primary purpose. But we also came to realize that there was an opportunity for something beyond that, which is that the benefit to students and to the planet by having people trained in this way was larger than any single personality. Because we were looking for something that was not going to be around for 5 or 10 years, but extend on into the indefinite future. And it just so happens that this morning I saw online an article about an artist the quote from him was, "It's very difficult to create something that's enduring." We did it. I am convinced that we have done that. And pardon the emotions, but this has become, as you can tell, very near and dear to the hearts of all of the founders. I think that that commitment to something, we're looking for something enduring. We now talk about not just 10 or 15 year horizon, but we talk about what's 75 years from now and so forth, 100 years from now. And one of the things that caused us to do, and I've understood from the Development Foundation that it was fairly rare for somebody to be funding a fellowship or a scholarship that weren't related to it was typically one founder or one person who is making the donation, and those are the most common type. Apparently, unless I misunderstood, those are the most common types of donations for fellowships or scholarships. But our and to a certain extent, I think that what we have done is going to may influence in the future the way that some things are marketed even to other people, other potential donors for other projects. But we were in a situation where we had high ambitions. We had a chance to do, we thought we had a chance to do something spectacular. And there were several things that were not expected. Everybody in our group will tell you that we were all afflicted by low expectations at the beginning. That got scrubbed away, and two people changed everything. The first two people that I asked to be on this council, Doug and Sherry Caves, announced a gift of $100,000. I will tell you, in the first 3 months, we were hoping to raise $50,000 total, and that was it, just for a name change on something or something. We just had no idea. So with that $100,000 cash gift, not some bequest in the future, everything. That confirmed that there was we had something that could really amount to, we could really build up and amount to something. And with that, I will start talking about the other members of the council. Since I've mentioned Doug and Sherry, let me say I've worked with people who've had some financial capacities, some extreme examples, and I have never met anybody who lived their values more than Doug and Sherry. That, that was an accident, depending on your viewpoint. I simply call them because we didn't have anything particularly sexy or what to market. We were looking. We had rather, as I said, we all had low expectations. So Doug and Sherry are, first and foremost, difference makers. And we will, when I ask everybody to stand, remember what the contributions of these people are. And adjust your propensity for clapping too softly. Was it something I said? Let me talk about the members of the council, and you can get some flavor. These are all very talented people, but it would be hard to find a more diverse group. And interestingly, even though all of us were at OSU at the same time, our common link was Chic, and I didn't have that strong a relationship with Chic then, but 20 years ago when I came to DC to manage my law firm's office there, Chick and I reconnected at a alumni event in D.C. And we thereafter, at least every 2 or 3 months, would have lunch together, and we did that for almost 20 years. Okay, and so.
No, move closer.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm not very well being directed. Yeah. And my wife is sitting over here, and she can attest to that. The first person I want to mention is Hank Hankla. Hank was somebody I knew of in college. I did not know him. I don't know that we ever had a conversation. But he was recommended, and that was also a fortuitous event for myself and for the project. He is. I keep asking him to do different things that are because everything he's done for the fellowship he's done very well. So I keep asking him for other things, but he's always willing to help, which is tremendous. He was trained as a lawyer, and so he helped and assisted in drafting organizational documents and proofreading other materials. He's very organized, detail-oriented, as lawyers are supposed to be. And he can look at problems from different perspectives. And he's very polite and respectful in expressing opinions. But he doesn't back down unless he's convinced either that it is that he was wrong or he hadn't looked at it properly, or that it simply was not an issue that's worth fighting over. And so that's, what more can you ask of someone? And so he has been tremendous. He's the vice chair. I'm the chairman of the council, and Chic is the vice chairman. Hank, I'm sorry. Hank is the vice chairman. Chic wanted to be vice chairman, but we told him no.
He wanted the chair.
Oh, that's right. I remember requesting protection one time. But anyway, Hank is, well, I'll ask all of them to stand, but Hank is a very special person. The next person I'll talk about was unable to be here tonight, and that's Connie Cancer. Connie is also a very special person, and she had some unique contributions to our group. She, for the most part, would be silent during the meetings or during the conversations, and these were Zoom meetings, and so we, like it or not, you had to learn a little bit about Zoom to be able to participate. Although some people never seem to learn where the mute switch was. But Connie, when she spoke, it was after she'd listened to all of you, she would have heard the whole discussion, and then she would weigh in. And her thoughts and opinions were always very respectful, very well thought out, and there was not that much tension, except, well, in the early months there sometimes was, but she remained calm and was never affected by that. She was the same even keeled throughout. And so she was generous with her gratitude and praise for her fellow members of the council. So she was a great contribution, made great contributions from my perspective. Jim Troxel. Jim is sitting over here. Jim is, except for the fact that he doesn't have or hasn't yet contributed $100,000, I would say that he would be voted the most essential. I think Doug and Sherry got that locked up for quite a while. But Jim is remarkable. He is, I've said that he's Energizer Bunny with some really powerful batteries. He works day and night. He's up at 6:30 in the morning. We're getting there. I've not seen things completing one 24-hour cycle where there's an email hourly or something, but it's been very close to that. You'll get emails from him at 11 o'clock at night and at 7 in the morning. But his talents are, he has, professionally, he's trained as a mediator and as a management consultant and evaluates troubled management. He's a consultant for nonprofits specifically. And he's also done a lot of fundraising. And there is no one else in our group that had comparable experience, or in some ways probably didn't have comparable interests. It's hard to pick up the phone and ask somebody for money, even for a cause as good as this. But that's sort of the way a number of us thought before Jim really took control of that project, the fundraising project, because he proceeded to basically hold a graduate course for us in fundraising and brought in outside consultants that were on a pro bono basis. And he has made a remarkable difference for us. And his job's not done, but that's not influencing why I'm being nice to him. But I think that Jim is just somebody that if we didn't have him, we would have to ask someone for an artificial intelligence or something that could substitute, because it would be hard to find another human being that fit our needs as precisely as Jim does. The next person is Gene Reed, who I mentioned earlier. Gene is somebody that I've known most of since probably sophomore year in college. Gene is funny. He has a voice made for radio, but it's not radio. It's not a radio age, I think I've read, and I don't know how he sounds on a internet streaming call or something. But he is same way. He's very solid, good judgment, and very complimentary and free with his praise of other members. And with those of us who are arguing points or disagreeing, but politely, but sometimes we may forget to tell the other person that we're confronting that we still appreciate all that they do. So that's one of the many things that Gene does for us. Ron Stevens is somebody that I really didn't know that well, and he was, we in college, we sort of would pass each other out. We knew who each other were, but really never had any relationship. And I saw Ron for the first time in 25 years, a number of years ago, at a Christmas party at the Dambachs. And that was, I don't know, 6 or 7 or 8 years ago. And Judy, his wife, was with him at that time. And so that was all I knew about him. But he has, I did know that he was supposed to be a phenomenal table tennis player, which when you're in your 70s, if you're consistently beating people in their 20s, including those who may have had table tennis tutors from their rich parents, you must be pretty good. But table tennis really didn't come up in this project. And so what we were looking for, the traits that he did bring were that he was very thoughtful. He asked probing comments. He was very intense in his question. He was generous with his praise, but he was sort of the in law people talk about the reasonable man. I don't know in law school that's what they said 50 years ago when I was in law school. They may now say, they probably say reasonable person, which would be more appropriate then and now. But Ron is very reasonable. He has strong opinions, but he listens and really listens to conflicting views. And as I think all of us, whether we're in business or any other thing, we realize that one of the faults that we carry with us from situation to situation is that we sometimes don't listen very well. But Ron's a very, very good listener. I want to make sure I'm not leaving anybody out here. Once we formed the council, we wrote, we were trying to, remember I was talking about continuity, and so we, in Kluver's suggestion, put together a document which is the intents of the founders, telling them, what we expected, because, the average age of our council is somewhere around 75, and so we're probably not going to live for more than another 30 years. And so after that, we're going to be replaced, and so we want to make sure that what we've put together here is going to survive the transition, and that the right type, people who have a genuine interest and truly understand the mission, if you will be in the ones who will be in any future negotiations with issues that I hope that the main issues that we've got so much money, that we've brought in so much money that we've got other departments in the university clamoring to get on our list of fellowships. But that's the background. And so a few minutes ago I talked about the artist who said it's difficult to create something that's enduring. I think we have done everything we can to try to make sure that this is enduring, and it's a opportunity to accomplish something, even as a donor, that I would argue you don't often have an opportunity to do. I want to go back and finish with talking about a Peacebuilder. This is on our website, by the way, and the website, the URL for the website is Dambach Peacebuilder, singular, Fellowships, plural. It's all lowercase, one word. And I think you'll find it, it was being put up on the screens during the lunch today, but I encourage you to look at it, because it's that together with a phenomenal video that Jim and others working with him put together. You can learn just about everything you would need to know to make an intelligent decision about whether or not it's something you want to be involved in at any level for any reason. What does it mean to be a peace builder? The mind of a peace builder. A peace builder evidences a strong interest in the causes of international conflict, as well as in conflict prevention, conflict resolution, and, where needed, the pursuit of underlying structural societal changes by both government and non-governmental parties. Such interest is the mind of a peace builder. The heart of a peace builder. A peace builder possesses the genuine desire and passionate commitment to creating a more peaceful world and to improving the lives of people limited by conflict or extreme poverty. Such desire and commitment is the heart of a peace builder. And in our founder's intent document, we indicated that we hope that as they look at people, applicants, that they consider whether or not they judge this person to be sincerely committed to the very difficult work of peace building. That difficult work of peace building requires knowledge. One of the things, Chic didn't have the opportunity to go through have a scholarship or end up in a program like at the School of Global Studies. And so some of the things he needed to know to eventually emerge, full blown as a peace builder, he learned through hopping lily pads from position to position and picked up enough to, okay. I thought they told me I had 4 minutes. Anyway, before, I don't see, it's got a long cane with a hook on it, but anyway, this program, this scholarship, this fellowship rather, will provide that basis so that these people can hit the road as full-blown peace builders a lot earlier than Chic was able to. And all of that's worth your time, your money, and I think you can have confidence it will be enduring.
I apologize. In about 5 minutes, we're going to have about 300 people from Mexico joining us online who don't want to miss the next event, which will start in just a couple of minutes. Although many people in Oklahoma and at OSU know the legacy of Henry G. Bennett as establishing Oklahoma State University as a transformative leader, not many understand his vision for OSU's engagement globally. As the first director of the Point Four program, Bennett was instrumental in building the philosophy, structure, and values of America's first real attempt at international aid. In explaining the mission, President Bennett said, "Point Four is a program for peace. It enlists the talents and energies of many peoples in the common effort to create a better, more peaceful world. There's nothing warlike or destructive about Point Four, except that it is a war against hunger, disease, and misery, which afflict millions of human beings and is an attempt to destroy the evil conditions that breed war." When he was a student here, Chic, I don't know if you knew about President Bennett and his legacy. Did you?
A little bit.
A little bit.
President Bennett was a good friend.
Yeah, that's right. Chic's long legacy of global service, diplomacy, and commitment to peace are truly the embodiment of what President Bennett was trying to bring about, to eliminate the conditions of war and to bring about prosperity to peoples around the world. And of course, it is fitting that your efforts to build peace between Ethiopia and Eritrea remind us of OSU's long commitment to Ethiopia, which spanned the better part of 2 decades. Chic, there is more that I could say, indeed much more, and if I run out, Keith will help. But let me just let me just congratulate you on your long career of service. You knew the first part of this event was happening. You did not know what's about to happen. I'm pleased to announce you're the first recipient of the Henry G. Bennett Distinguished Fellowship in 12 years. So I'm not going to let you say anything. So please have a seat. Please have a seat. The Henry G. Bennett Distinguished Service Award is the highest award given by the School of Global Studies. It is reserved for leaders of exceptional international service, and I think that Chic is well deserving. From the faculty, staff, and students from the School of Global Service, Chic, we want to thank you for your service to OSU and to peoples around the world. Now, before anybody else cries, I am going to invite all of us to move down to room 108. We do need to move fairly rapidly because we do have a lot of people who are going to be joining us online. So please, with all due haste, make your way down to room 108. Thank you so much. And Chic, congratulations.